Hi, it's Courtney with Cake and Kale Lifestyle. Today on my video blog, I'm going to be talking about a term called clean eating. Clean eating is something that's become really popular lately. And basically what it is, if you're not familiar with it, is it's eating foods that are completely unrefined. So nothing that comes out of a box, really, nothing that's prepackaged in the grocery store, like no cereals, not eating things like white flour, no refined sugar. You're pretty much just sticking to plant-based or, animal proteins, those kinds of things. It's been a pretty, interesting form of eating, I think, because on the one hand, it's great. It turns people on to the idea of really eating a lot more whole foods, which I love. But on the other hand, I feel as though it also really pigeonholes us into a particular way of eating. And it creates a lot of food fears in people as well, which is something that I really try to work on my clients to get out of. Dieting in general is just a huge form of creating food fear in us, I feel. And so even when, the health industry comes out with things that sound technically like it's really good for you, if it's something that's mentally going to cause an issue between you and food, then it's really not good for you, regardless of what it has you eating. So with clean eating, it's a very restrictive way of eating, and it's a very difficult way of eating. It's something that I tried out for quite a while. When I had adrenal fatigue, I had to eat extremely clean, just to sort of like help my digestion heal. I had to take out a lot of foods, even clean foods. There were certain ones that I wasn't allowed to be eating. And so I did that for quite some time. And what I kind of came to realize about it and about my body and how it reacted to it was that my skin cleared up. I had a lot more energy. I can't say that I actually slept better. And that was interesting. I think part of it was also because I wasn't really eating a lot of carbohydrates. And carbohydrates are something that cause our dopamine levels to rise in our brain. That's one of our feel-good chemicals. So a lot of times people who are eating more low carb, or they're staying away from even things like sweet potato or squashes, just carbs in general, they'll notice that they get crankier, a little more foggy headed for a while, and they don't sleep that well. So for me personally, I can't say that my sleep increased that well. But in terms of just like the clean eating in general, I did notice, like I said, my skin really cleared up, my nails got longer. I just kind of felt better all around. But the part that stunk was that I got really cranky because I wasn't able to eat any of the foods that I really enjoyed. So I couldn't have things like pretzels. I couldn't have things like buttered popcorn. I wasn't allowed to eat, there's these wraps that I love from Trader Joe's, but they're made with white flour. And, white flour's, it's very refined. You're not supposed to eat it at all. So I couldn't have those. And I was bummed, So eventually I started adding those things back into my diet. And when I did, I got a lot happier. I didn't end up gaining weight because I put white flour back into my diet. My face did not end up breaking out. Interestingly, what did happen though is when I started adding in some more sugar into my diet, my face did break out. I have noticed that that's probably the biggest change with me is if I start including more sugar. So I've seen if I have, 5 glasses of wine in a night, which is a bottle, and then I'm eating something, like right now it's Christmas cookies, I will wake up the next morning with zits on my face. But if I have a night where I go out and I'm having a bunch of pasta, that doesn't happen. So it's kind of funny like that. So I basically have decided that, okay, I know now that if I'm going to drink an entire bottle of wine, which doesn't happen too often, where I'm gonna, have some Christmas cookies, like I just need to be aware that tomorrow I'm probably gonna wake up with some pimples. But that has yet to happen if I eat like a giant box of goldfish, which, I certainly love doing every now and then. Goldfish is like my crack. So my point with that is that I think for me, I physically noticed that sugar, not so great, but just sort of like refined carbs in general, they don't have as much of a negative impact on my body. So with clean eating, some of the ways that you kind of go about doing it is you're going to cut out all white flour. You're going to cut out all refined sugars. Instead, you're going to be using like maple syrup as your sweetener or molasses as your sweetener. Not even like sugar in the raw is considered a clean sugar. You're not going to do any white flours whatsoever. Instead, you're going to be doing more like whole wheat. And what's interesting about whole wheat flour is that it's actually kind of, a lot of them are refined in their own way. A lot of times, like whole wheat pastas or whole wheat breads, they'll take like a wheat flour, and then they'll take all the nutrients out of it, completely break it down and refine it, and then they add the nutrients back in. So what happens with that is that even though you're getting nutrients added back in, you're not really getting the same substance that you would if the nutrients had never been taken out to begin with. It's kind of the difference between eating a lot of whole food so that you're getting in a ton of nutrients and just taking a multivitamin. I mean, it's good to take a multivitamin. It's good to try to get more of those vitamins in you. But obviously, if you're eating them from real actual food, you're going to be getting more bang for your buck, basically, is what I'm saying. So it's another reason why you never really know with what's going on with the food. I mean, here you are, you think you're doing something healthy. You think you're doing something clean by eating like a whole wheat unprocessed bread, let's say, but you've got to be careful with what your whole wheat bread is. I always tell people, if you're not getting like a sprouted grain bread or a bread that literally has like 3 ingredients in it, then it's some type of refined bread. So, I mean, maybe it's better than the white bread. I suppose it is a little bit, but it's not as good as like we're being told that it is for ourselves, which is why you can't let yourself go crazy about all these foods like being clean and not being clean, because one minute we're being told they're good for us, the next minute we're being told that they're not good for us. You have to just be really mindful about what you're choosing and choose what's going to be working best for you. I don't like any sort of diet that tells us that we can only eat one way. And I feel as though with clean eating, people start to feel as though if they're not eating clean, then that means that they're eating bad. And that's simply not true. It feels as though, okay, so if I have a turkey burger wrapped in lettuce for lunch with a side of like a healthy salad or something, and then for a snack, I end up eating a bag of like Cape Cod barbecue potato chips, then I ate good for lunch. Oh, that's my kid. Hold on. All right, honey. I'll be ready in a second. All right, well, just go downstairs. I'll be done in a minute. See, this is what happens when you're a stay-at-home, working from home mom. I get a little interrupted. So back what I was saying was, now I don't remember where I was. We were talking about cleaning. Oh, yeah. So you're good if you ate the turkey burger, but you're bad because you ate the chips. And that's just like so restrictive. I think that this is where we all get so messed up, is we see things as like good and bad. I have clients all the time asking me like, is it okay if I have this, or is it okay if I have that? And I just want to say, like, it's okay to have pretty much anything, depending on how you notice your body reacting to those things and how often you're incorporating them. If you're eating 80% of your meals full of whole, nutritious foods, it's okay to then go out and have cake that week. It's okay to incorporate some Oreos into that. I mean, it's not okay to eat an entire box of Oreos. We know that. No one needs to tell us that. But it's okay to have a few. It's all about keeping things in balance and really trying to get through your head new ideas and new ways about how you look at food. You can't keep seeing things as good or bad. Eating clean is good, not eating clean is bad. It doesn't work like that. If it worked that well for everybody, nobody would be so confused about food. Nobody would be having all these issues about what they're eating, how much they're eating. I tell people all the time, like, there's this diet out there that's called the Whole30, which a lot of people have tried. It's great in the sense that it introduces people to really fresh, whole ingredient recipes. Love that. I really think that's fantastic. What I don't think is fantastic is that the plan tells you that you have to eat this way for 30 days. And if you fall off the wagon, quote unquote, any of these days, you have to start all over again. Well, what the hell is that? Who wants to do that? You know what I mean? Like, that sucks. That's like basically being like slapped on the wrist with a ruler by a nun, the food police or something like that. Like, oh, you just screwed up this. Now you've got to start all over again. I mean, why would anyone want to eat like that? I don't know. I don't want to eat like that. I don't want to be policing my food like that much, because I can't trust myself to be that controlled. I mean, plus, I guess for me, it would mean that I wouldn't be able to like go out and do social events with friends and stuff like that, because I'd be afraid that I'd be too tempted, that I might, eat a cheese doodle or something like that at a party. Whereas if I'm eating the way that I know makes me feel good and that nourishes my body, I'm not going to be worried about whether or not I have a cheese doodle at a party. Like, think of the amount of stress you're putting on yourself just from trying to tackle a plan where if you screw up once in 30 days, you have to start all over again. I would think that maybe that might actually be worse for your system than eating a bag of Doritos on a Friday night. But that's just me. So back to the sort of like clean eating thing, the Whole30 thing, as I was saying, these things are great to introduce yourself to new recipes, including whole foods and taking out more of the refined stuff. I'm all for that. But again, it really is all about balance. You can't decide that you're only going to be living clean if that is a way that really causes you stress. Now, if you're someone who loves eating clean, it's not causing you stress, you aren't missing the cookies, you don't still crave the buttered popcorn or your favorite, your favorite white flour wrap from Trader Joe's, then go for it, But don't compare yourself to what everybody else is eating. Don't be watching what's on everybody else's plate. You've got to start taking the control back for yourself. You have to start looking at what's on your plate. Surround yourself with foods that make you happy. And I always say there's only one real way to eat, and that is nourishing. That's it. Nourish yourself. You can have cookies and be nourishing yourself. You can have cupcakes and be nourishing yourself. As long as you're not eating 5 cupcakes in a row or a cupcake every, single day and starting to notice that zits are popping up on your face and maybe you're a little bit more sluggish or like your pants aren't fitting that well. Now you're not nourishing yourself anymore. Now you're doing a little bit of harm to your body and you need to get yourself in more check. But my business name is Cake and Kale. Like, it's all about, it's cool to eat cake and it's cool to eat kale. But you got to find a good balance there. So with the clean eating, I really just kind of want to impress upon you that don't feel like you're doing yourself harm if you're not eating clean. Don't feel that eating clean is the only way to be eating. Don't feel that you're superior to other people because you follow a clean eating diet. Food has become something where I think that everybody just wants to label themselves as one type of eater or another. And if you don't follow that way of eating, then there's something wrong with you. Like, oh, I'm plant-based, so that means that I'm better than you. I know how to cook all these different things. There's 1,001 ways that I've been able to figure out how to steam okra. I don't know. It's the same thing with people who are paleo. Like, I don't eat anything that caveman didn't eat later than 10,000 years ago or earlier than 10,000 years ago. I don't even remember what it is right now, but there's 10,000 years somewhere in there. And I know a lot about paleo food. It's basically eating meat and vegetables. And, ancient grains, like super, super ancient grains, which is another buzzword too. Like, oh, this pasta was made with this lentil ancient grain, as though eating it is going to, do something to your system where now you're like, you're shooting lasers out of your eyes because you've been eating ancient grains. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say, don't let what style of eating you prefer make you feel superior to others, because it takes all kinds. It takes all kinds of food. It takes all kinds of people. Practice eating things that nourish your body, that make you feel good. Eat a lot of whole foods, but my God, please go and enjoy some buttered popcorn at the movie every once in a while without feeling guilty about it. This is the way you're going to be feeling better. If you're stressed all the time about eating in a certain style, your body is feeling that stress. Here comes my child. Oh my God, don't look at my bed. It's a mess. Can you say hi?
What does it?
It's just one of my videos.
Hi.
I'm talking about food.
Hello.
Say hi.
Hi.
That's my son, Declan. He's 3. He's one of my twins. All right, well, obviously I have to go be a mom right now. Hold on a second,
You put
honey.
my Maui costume on?
Yes, I'll put your Maui costume on. Just give me a second. So this is Courtney with Cake and Kale Lifestyle. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any questions regarding clean eating or any of the other styles, paleo, keto, you can always email me. I'm happy to answer your questions. My email address is Courtney@Cake and Kale Lifestyle. Or you can go to my website, which is just Cake and Kale, and the and is spelled out, cakeandkalelifestyle.com. Thank you so much. Can you say bye-bye?
Is that the iPad?
Yes, it's Daddy's iPad. Take care.